Hi, everybody. It's Ben. It's day 3 at NEARCON, one of our last interviews of this event, and I'm here with Nunu and Tabia of Muti, and they're going to tell us a little bit of what they do and how they're making this ecosystem even better than it is.
Yeah. Hi, Ben.
Hi.
Thanks for having us.
Good to have you. Thank you.
Yeah, we can explain a bit about what we actually do and how we use Web3. So Muti is an association and also DAO on the NEAR protocol for about 1.5 years now. And we work with artists, so we're outside of the tech IT background, let's say, and we actually work with onboarding artists, like visual artists, musicians. We run residencies, metaverse streams, and we always try to combine that with the physical world, the tools that we have.
It seems pretty difficult to combine anything physical with Web3 because it feels so imaginary. How have y'all been achieving that?
I think we try to onboard them in a sensible way, like by giving them use cases. So Nuno, for example, is a musician, and I think from a musician point of view, it really depends on if you have any knowledge of the Web3 or not. I don't know if you want to...
I can take on that. Usually we try to do it as if it would be a normal thing. So like if someone is getting booked to play a gig, if someone is getting booked to do artwork, a design or something like that, we're just saying that the payment is done in crypto. And that's it. And then it's up to the person to decide whether they want to work for crypto or not. And if the person is open to do it, we just do the onboarding session. We kind of guide through all the processes, like what's the AstroDAO, like how to get your payment, how to convert it into, because we use a stable coin, so how to convert it into NEAR to get it out of the ecosystem so you can convert it to euros. We do all of that kind of onboarding process. And I think where we actually do the real catch is by just using it for normal stuff. So like to pay for normal services.
So like if there's like a graffiti artist, so you're walking by and they're like, "No, I'm not the cops. Let me show you how to get into crypto." And they're like, "What are you talking about?" It's like, keep doing it. And you just kind of tell them about finances. Some of them probably have never dealt with finances, period.
At all.
So are you teaching them how to like manage money and then also manage crypto?
No, absolutely not. Like one of the things that we kind of try to say is like, we don't want to advise anyone on how to manage their own money. The only thing that we try to do is to show that there is a new stream of revenue in here.
I think it's more about explaining the tools. So we explain them what's refinance, what's the impermanent loss, like we give them the basics, and then of course it's up to them to use it. So it's more about showing people what they can do with it and how they can explore if they want to create their own DAO and all of those things, rather than us being a financial manager, because no liability for that.
Fair enough.
For sure.
One thing I keep hearing, I keep asking, is about web literacy. What does Web3 literacy mean to you?
I think for us it's a lot about having really a human contact to teach people what it can be. So for us it's less about having 1 million wallets in a month. It's more about maybe onboarding 10 people and we know what they do, they understand what we do, we teach them the tools, and then they become active in the ecosystem. So we had a couple of other artists that worked with us before who then created their own DAO, who now work with us on projects. So it's more about doing it in a sensible way and in a mindful way, I guess, and really giving them the tools rather than just sending out and creating wallets. And giving the tools, like we have a lot of PDF documents, we have videos, we have it on the website, we have blogs that we give. So it's a bit like an educational program that we have built up in the last year.
So if they don't get admitted to the retreats, they can still kind of learn how to make make art or make money off of their art in Web3.
I think obviously we can't promise that someone creates an NFT with us and they will receive immediate income. What we do usually is we show them what we do with it and how it works, and they're always free to explore other DAOs, even if they want other blockchains, other groups, like we're very open. I think what we are trying to create is also like a physical use case. So we have the NFT redeemables, for example, which I think from an artist's perspective, it's something that is it makes sense, it's very tangible. Like people buy an NFT, for a t-shirt, for your CD, and redeem it, and they receive the royalty splits directly, so people understand why it is so good to actually use this technology, and then they can grow into it and understand, how do I want to market myself, do I just want to keep on doing projects? So there's no guarantee for wealth, in my opinion, in this. But it's more, yeah, for people to explore the tools and see how it goes.
When does that spark happen where they're like, oh, I get it now? Does it happen when they get their commission or their?
I think it eases off a lot when people get paid. So like if someone did a service and gets paid, it is a lot like, okay, this is not a scam. This is actually real stuff. But I guess the spark comes from whoever is interested in exploring. So of course we cannot predict who actually is going to interact with the ecosystem after we onboard people. But a lot of times, like once that first step is taken of realizing it's not a scam, there are much more facilities and easiness of then exploring all the rest. Like, okay, what is a DAO? What is an exchange? What is ref finance? Like all this kind of stuff. So, yeah.
I think the example for this is we had a physical artist residency in the Green in Portugal, and all of the members, of course, got onboarded. And it took about, I would say, 2 to 3 months for several artists to actually come back with project ideas and with interest in NFTs, for example, and also creating their own DAOs. And now they onboarded another DAO. So it's like, it's a chain that just takes more time, but it's actually quite fruitful, I think. But it depends always on the moment. Maybe then they read an article about NFT or crypto and they realize, oh, some months ago I received this from Muti, like you can't rush people with it, but it just comes with time, I think.
So with, we talk about scalability, big term here at tech, and we talk about getting to 1 billion users, and there's also in the news VC funding for projects just like yours, where it's reaching creatives and getting them to build on Near without a coding background. How do you feel like what you do contributes to that ultimate goal?
For example, I'm going to pick up again on the NFT Bazaar store, where so you are buying NFTs and redeeming them for usable items. So I guess it's one step towards getting more people on board, because they are practicing the same things they would do in a normal marketplace, just using this tool instead. And then understanding like how this tool is being used, at least in my perspective, that bridges better towards people rather than the promise of making money, or rather the promise of you're gonna revolutionize your life with this. There is this whole new concept. Because talking about myself, like if you're not a tech person, that's gonna be scary. That's gonna be really scary. But if you want to buy a T-shirt, and the only way that you have to buy a T-shirt from that artist is an NFT, hey, maybe you're gonna find out how to get that NFT. So you're gonna create a wallet, you're gonna maybe ask around in some forums and all that, and suddenly a new user showed up that was not really just interested on the financial aspects, but was interested in keeping on doing the same activities, listening to music, buying gear, all this kind of stuff in a normal context.
Oh, so they consume the same way. It's almost like you trick them into becoming part of the community.
Kind of that.
I think it's more the impact that it has if they buy an NFT in our store, for example, because basically there will be always a small fee that goes to our DAO, so that we have those funds to create more projects, to more residencies, onboard more artists. And the rest goes directly to the artist itself, where if you would do it with a normal financial system, usually you have fees for the shop, or you just have way more complications. So I think if you're an art lover, music lover, and you really support this artist, you want to do that, it's just the most direct way for you to actually support it. And I mean, everything is transparent. You can see exactly what's happening. And I think what the value that we also bring, I hope, and I think that's kind of the case, is we do a lot of one-on-one onboarding sessions, so it's really personal. So I think everyone was active in the Telegram group and also in the forum and in the projects. Like, it's really a lot of time that we spend like talking to people virtually, in person, explaining the things, which then helps them to also feel a bit more safe and explore, I think.
And then explore and then hopefully teach others, right?
Yeah.
So
just picking up on that, like I think one of the things that we started doing that for me actually works quite good is onboarding artists that are influential in their own communities. So like they're going to be the best spokesperson for that new thing that they just tried out within their community. So for example, if there is an artist with 10,000 followers that we get booked, and he was not aware of crypto and now he's aware of crypto, it's most likely that these 10,000 followers, I'm going to get to know about crypto through him, because it's probably going to be something new for that artist, like a new step towards the new technology, with something that you also kind of want to share to the world, that you just took a step into something that seems a bit more fair. So like I guess it's a very good way of getting towards the mass of people. getting a little bit these influencers in the communities. Not, yeah.
They have a big, okay, I see. And I guess finally, I think for a lot of people, whether you have a technical background or not a technical background, this space can feel like it's overrun by people that look like me. What do you tell those people that are like, that's just not my scene? I don't, you know, it's for nerds. You know, how do you get artists like that to get involved?
I think, yeah, the fact that they speak with us. So I'm female. He is not female, but he's an artist. So I think we actually cover those two areas at least. And the fact that we didn't enter this space with an IT background, but mainly with curiosity, helps a lot. Because all of us were pretty, you know, it was a lot to learn in the beginning, not just like the proposals and stuff and how does Astra work or DeFi, all of that. So I think having that, again, that human level on everything, I think makes it a bit easier. And in terms of, I think, gender equality, what I've learned or what I usually say, Web3 I think is great because it doesn't really, it might not really matter the gender that you have because you might just have an icon there and like no one knows, you know. On the other hand, it's still, the majority is, you know, it's male dominated in a way. So what I've learned is keep on asking questions, don't be shy, even if it's a stupid question. And I think there are a lot of, you know, groups growing or coming up that support women in Web3, which is something, there's another DAO that I helped to create, which is ENA, and the idea was to share mainly documentation, to create, you know, educational material for women or just for them to feel a bit more safe and then they can enter, because I know it can be really overwhelming and you have a lot of mansplaining and like, yeah, we're not, it's not equal yet, you know, but I think keep on following that, keep on being curious and don't try not to get intimidated even though it's scary.
Yeah, you know, like I hear that theme a lot. Like, come meet me halfway, and I'll show you. You have to get your feet wet. How do they do that with you?
I think it really depends. Like by now, we get some requests through email. Some just join our Telegram. We have an open call usually for stipends. So we try to support two artists every month. With basically they receive crypto in order for them to work on a project, and then we help them create an NFT, do an exhibition. And I think it really depends on the way how they contact us, but like no one needs to pay us for us to introduce them to that. What we usually want them to do at one point is create an NFT or be part of an exhibition or, you know, just try to see if you would like to be part of this community, and then that's it, because I think for us, the more the merrier. That, like, we're open to all art forms, so it doesn't really matter if you do graffiti or textile print or poetry. I think until now we've had quite a broad
I guess
spectrum.
one thing that is important for us in that sense is like, and sometimes something that scares the artists and the people that just come into this world is like that you kind of have to change what you do to become a viable product. And my suggestion would be, don't do that.
Okay.
Be yourself, and if there is a product in there while being yourself that you can bridge in here, that's beautiful. But don't stress out thinking that you have to go like, oh my God, I have to reinvent completely my life to be able now to be part of this. Because that's a little bit also the stigma we're trying to break in here is like, you are already doing art. Right. This is just a tool for us to complement what we are already doing. We don't necessarily need to change it. We can adapt, of course. We can always find new ways of doing things. But there is a lot this idea that we have to fully become a product or fully dive deep into the marketing and all that, which, of course, it's necessary, but doesn't ask to be right away the first priority. First priority, in my understanding, is just understanding what you want from it while you're doing art. And then things will come along.
So you said it's open to all art forms. When has that most been tested? Has there been an art form like, oh, I paint with pig livers? You know, how do I get into NFT? Like, what's kind of the weirdest, most extreme art that you've encountered?
I think we started with music actually.
I think we had some examples, like we had this artistic residency where we had people doing tarot readings. There was also the chemigrams, which was a way of painting with photography chemicals, basically. But instead of you know, showing the photography, you were actually doing paintings with those chemicals and all this kind of stuff. We also had an event where we were out in the woods and we brought a massive, in collaboration with another DAO, Black Cat Cinema, we brought like a massive screen, so we had like an outdoor cinema in a river. So basically we were by the woods, very remote, and we were, I think the movie was Loving Vincent, about Vincent van Gogh. We also had DJ sets, we also had musicians, art showcases, in like a place where usually there would be just trees and a river and people enjoying their cocktails and all that. So we brought that in there, and it was beautiful. Like the feedback was beautiful because it was different.
I think for the first open call applications as well, we received actually a lot of submissions, and it was really nice to see the wide spectrum. We had people doing, applying with dance. We had people working with wood. Some people were doing digital or glitch art, for example. So it's really interesting. Also poetry, and like for me, people really can come up with new art forms, just a new way of expressing themselves. And there's always a way for you to maybe create a digital equivalent that still doesn't sell you as a product, but actually shows what you do. And we also, for example, have a near hub space, and it looks, compared to the other ones, it doesn't look like a house. So we actually have a forest. It's kind of like a volcano thing with trees, and in the middle we have the NFT. So we always try to bridge it and combine this the natural love that we have, I guess.
Oh, that sounds great. I'd love to see that. I guess, yeah, how do people find out more about what you do and get involved and bring their art to Web3?
So you can find us on most of the platforms, so Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I think we have a Telegram group as well, so if you just look for Muti Collective or muticollective.org, you have all the infos, you have the blog posts, the videos, because I understand we do quite a lot of different things, and it's sometimes hard to understand what is it that we do. But yeah, I think on all of those platforms you can find us, and feel free to join the Telegram channel and just ask questions. We're around.
All right, everyone knows artists are really cool and they're kind of ahead. So what's the lamest channel to be on, and what's the next cool social channel that people should be joining to find you?
The lamest might be Facebook.
Okay.
Simply
okay.
because
I just created a Facebook group too. Okay.
But that's
fine.
simply because the reason why we use Facebook is because we do physical events, and that way people just have the chance to mark it in their calendar. If there's any kind of Web3, I don't know, equivalent, I know there are, but maybe I haven't found one is super suitable. Happy to work with that, but again, we work with people that are not, they're still very in Web 2, or maybe not even that sometimes.
Okay.
So I think Facebook is the lamest. I guess Telegram is the one that is maybe most active and is the fastest. A classic email will do for sure.
Emails, always
channels are open.
Classic.
Yeah.
Well, great. Thanks for taking the time. It's really been great talking to you over the past couple of days and learning more about how people like my sister can make sense of this space. And it sounds like y'all are really helping that to happen. So hope to see great things from you. Been loving the Muti sessions, and can't wait to see what happens in Muti next year.
Nice.
It'd be great.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks a lot.